Hey guys, let's talk about 7 foods you should never ever be eating. Now, there's a lot of foods we can say that someone shouldn't be eating, but these 7 foods are some foods that a lot of people wouldn't really think of or are just terrible for you. So number 1, we have orange juice. So a lot of people think orange juice or just juices in general should be healthy because they're fruits, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the whole process of actually making orange juice. So first you have to squeeze the oranges to actually get the juice out, and then all the other components and the pulp is usually removed. And then you have to pasteurize it. So you heat pasteurize it to kill all the bacteria. And then the next step is to remove oxygen. So this is to lower the amount of oxidative damage that's going to occur. And then after that whole process, it kind of gets rid of some of the taste as well. So it's not going to taste as good, so they have to add some more flavors back in to make it taste like juice again. And this orange juice can sit in storage for a long time before it ends up in your fridge. So that orange juice or that other juice that you're drinking is not just freshly squeezed and handed to you. Now the problem with this orange juice is there is a ton of calories in it and not so many nutrients, and there's also a ton of sugar. So 1 cup of orange juice has about 21 grams of sugar. And also there's hardly any fiber at all in orange juice. So if you wanted to get the same nutrients as you would from eating 1 orange, you would have to consume way more calories and way more sugar in orange juice. And that's not to mention the damage that orange juice does to your teeth. The minute orange juice touches your teeth, that sugar starts feeding those bacteria in your mouth, and those are the same bacteria that cause cavities. So drinking orange juice is almost as bad as drinking Coke. So I definitely avoid that. The second thing on my list is high fructose corn syrup. So high fructose corn syrup is an artificial sugar that's made from corn syrup. And a lot of people know that high fructose corn syrup is bad for you. And this is a real contributor to the obesity epidemic we have going on. It contributes to diabetes, to heart disease, the list goes on. The thing with high fructose corn syrup that's so bad compared to the other things on this list is there's absolutely no nutrients in it. And it's just empty calories that you're eating. So what sorts of things have high fructose corn syrup in? Well, you'll see them in different candies, in sodas. You'll see them in packaged sweets like cupcakes or cookies. You'll also see them in some juices. Sometimes you'll see them at fast food restaurants in some of their ingredients. And also some of those breakfast foods have them as well, like Pop-Tarts, for example. So make sure you check the ingredients before you buy something that you think is healthy. And this actually brings me to the next thing on the list, which is Pop-Tarts. When I was a kid, I used to think I was so healthy because I was eating those strawberry Pop-Tarts instead of those cinnamon ones, because those are my favorite, so I settled for the strawberry. Then when I got older, I learned what was actually inside of those Pop-Tarts, and I learned that I was not being so healthy. When you look at the ingredients on Pop-Tarts and you see that list going on and on, you realize that you're not really eating food. I don't even know what you're eating. Quick rule of thumb, if you don't know what you're eating or what any of the ingredients mean, I would avoid it. So let's avoid Pop-Tarts. Number 4 is deli meats. So this is really for all processed meats in general, because processed meats have a lot more chemicals in them that fresh meats do not have. And these chemicals are terrible for you. And there's many different studies that are showing that these processed meats are linked with many different diseases, even cancer or heart disease, even high blood pressure. So what are some other examples of processed meats other than just these deli meats? Well, you have hot dogs or sausages. There's beef jerky, which is a big one. There's also canned meats. So make sure you're always eating fresh meats. Number 5 is frozen meals. So this is another big one that I used to eat when I was a kid. I used to love those Hot Pockets, those bagel bites, those French bread pizzas, or those pizza rolls. I used to eat a ton of junk food. So again, these foods, these frozen meals that you'll find, a lot of them are very heavily processed. And they also have a lot of different chemicals in them. And also a lot of these frozen meals have a ton of sodium in them and also a ton of refined carbohydrates. So my favorite thing was a pepperoni Hot Pocket. So 1 pepperoni Hot Pocket had about 1,150 milligrams of sodium in it alone. That's about half your daily limit of sodium in just 1 Hot Pocket. You know, there's a reason why Americans eat way more sodium than they're supposed to. And there's also a reason why diabetes and other diseases are so high. So make sure you avoid these frozen meals. Now the 6th thing, this one might surprise you, is rice cakes. I personally used to think that these were really healthy, and I was shocked when I found out that they weren't. Normally people think that rice cakes are great for people losing weight because they're really bland, they taste like crap, and there's not that many calories in them. But what are rice cakes made out of? Well, they're full of starch. So that means that it's gonna spike your blood sugar. So this is basically the same thing as eating like a bagel or some crackers. And also you may think there's not many calories in it, but there's also no nutrients in it. So why would someone who's trying to lose weight eat some empty calories that have no nutrients in it that are gonna spike your blood sugar and make you at a higher risk of getting diabetes? It doesn't make any sense. So the last thing on my list, and this one might surprise people too, is vegetable oils. This is another thing that people generally think are healthy because you hear the word vegetable, and if oils are coming from a vegetable, then it has to be healthy, right? But how many vegetables does it take to make your vegetable oil? Well, the oil is actually taken out from these seeds in these vegetables. And each of these seeds has very little oil in it. So you're gonna have to go through a ton of these vegetables and a ton of these seeds that are not a normal amount for our daily consumption just to get your vegetable oil. Now, I'm not saying that all vegetable oils are bad. There's a couple that I like, and I'm gonna mention them in just a bit. But most of these plant oils have a really high amount of omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-3 and omega-6 are two different essential fatty acids, and we need them in our diet because our body cannot produce them on our own. But humans have always had a good ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s. And usually it's been a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. But if you look at just in the last century, and that's actually when these vegetable oils got really popular, that our ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 has changed drastically. Instead of it being 1-to-1, now our omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is 20-to-1. And some reports are even higher than that. And also what shot up during this time is rates of people being overweight and obese. So having this really high omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in your body is gonna do a lot of harmful things. It's gonna cause a lot of chronic inflammation throughout your body. Now, chronic inflammation does a ton of negative things to your body. It's basically breaking your whole body down. And it's also gonna be contributing to a bunch of different diseases. Now, not all vegetable oils have this high of a ratio. Some of them are a little more even. So the two that I like are olive oil and coconut oil. So if you're gonna choose any vegetable oil, I would choose those two. Now, if you wanna stick away from them entirely, that's fine too. I personally cook with clarified butter, which is also known as ghee, and you can find it in a lot of different stores now. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked that video, and if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel below. I will see you in the next video.